Oh, yeah, let me start over. Hi everyone, my name is Jackie. I'm going to start kids yoga class today. I want to introduce the theme of acceptance of the now. Often we are easily distracted by the chaos and darkness in our past or in our future, and this causes us to be sad. However, I want to challenge us today by learning the power of accepting the now and really surrendering to the present moment and accepting today as the moment we are in. Once we do that, we can release any anxiety we have about trying to change it or alter it when we surrender to the moment we are in, and we can release and let go of any anxiety we have. So today, especially with the virus, we all have some chaos and darkness in our lives, but however, I believe that if we accept each day as we live in the moment and focus on one day at a time, we can get through this together. And I hope we can all start today's class with that intention of just living in the moment and instead of forcing anything that isn't going to change. So today we will be going on an adventure to the zoo. Since it's bringing your own pet day, I decided we're going to bring our own pet and we're going to bring our dog with us. So since today, so this is going to be our field trip buddy. Just a minute, let me say hello to Romeo. This is Romeo. He's going to be our field trip buddy for today. And so since it's Bring Your Own Pet Day to the zoo, and we'll be seeing a lot of animals. And his favorite, Romeo likes to do yoga as well. His favorite pose is doggy pose, which I'll show you guys how to do in just a few moments. Yeah, so I want to introduce some animals that we will be seeing at the zoo. The first pose, if you all have watched my previous class, we have to get through the gates of the zoo. So the first thing we have to do is gate pose. And since I did gate pose last class, you might remember, but I'll show it to you guys again. So I'll be showing gate pose. And this will be a partner pose, so you guys can do it together. So gate pose is we kneel on our knees and we lift one leg straight out to the left. And then since we're doing a partner pose, we're going to use a partner. So this is my partner, Medi Teddy, and he's going to be my partner for today. And so the opposite person is going to be kneeling down on the opposite leg, and then doing the other leg is straight. So both legs will connect. You and your partner will connect at the edge, and then you have to straighten out your hands so that you're holding hands. And this is gate pose. So you can open the gates by lifting your arms or close it by holding the arm. And so that's gate pose. And so once we enter the gates of the zoo, we have to do, suddenly we see a lion as we pass through the gates. So this lion we're going to be doing lion breath. So lion's breath, everyone can follow me. We need to get into cat pose. So place your knees and your hands on the mat, and take a deep breath in, and then on exhale, open your mouth and stick out your tongue and breathe out. So it'll look like this. Inhale, exhale. And that's like a tiger roar or a lion roar. Like you can do it as loud or as soft as you want. So we're going to do this for a few times. Try to be as creative as you want with the lion's breath. And then next since we hear so many people barking, so many people in the zoo and so many animal sounds, you suddenly hear a dog barking behind you. So you turn around, and sure enough, it's a puppy barking at your dog, Romeo. So we're gonna get into puppy pose. So first, to get into puppy pose, this is the puppy pose, just so you guys can see it. It's so it looks like downward dog, but we're actually gonna be kneeling on our knees. So this is puppy pose. We'll be put your palms down on the mat, and then your knees on the mat, and shift your hands so that they're in front of you, and place your hips back and lower your chest so that you're arching your back, And this is puppy pose. You can lower your forehead to the mat and just breathe here for a few moments. So breathe, and so this is like a puppy, and you can wag your tail and do some motions, and then to release, you just slowly come up and back into the 4 points of contact, which is your hands and your knees, and then slowly come back on your heels. And that's puppy pose. And so puppy pose is that, and then you suddenly see an airplane flying overhead. So we're gonna do the airplane pose. So airplane pose is, I can show it to you guys. I also have the picture so that you can see it. It's basically airplane pose is, let me just find the card. So this is airplane pose. Yeah, so you just look like an airplane. And to get into the pose, I'll be showing you guys is, so we'll be balancing on one leg. Stand straight first and make sure your back is straight and your shoulders are down. Then slowly lift one leg and balance on the other leg and lean forward so you don't tip over, and balance by using your arms back behind you and straighten your hamstrings as well as your back and lengthen, and then gaze down at your mat. And this is airplane pose. We're also going to be doing the other side. So make sure, try to balance. If you want to sway, you can also sway in your airplane, and you can lower down and slowly lower your leg, and then breathe in, and then exhale, do the other leg. So the other side will be standing on the opposite leg and then moving the other leg backward and shifting forward on your right leg. And then, move your arms back behind you and your back straight, and then gaze down at the mat. And this is airplane pose, and then slowly lower down. That's how to get out of the pose. And then for our next pose, and then if you could fly, where would you want to go if you were an airplane? And would you fly alone or with a friend? Think of something that makes your heart soar and hold a thought as you try the pose again. So you can try it again or anytime you want after this class, and think about those questions. And then we're gonna do another pose. So suddenly at the zoo, you trip and fall over a large rock on the way to the other exhibits. And there is a lizard that is gazing at you on the rock and looking annoyed that you tripped over it. So now we're gonna do lizard on a rock pose. So this is a partner pose. It's gonna look like this. So yeah, this is lizard on a rock. And so one person is gonna be in rock pose and the other person is gonna be lying on top. So I can show you guys the pose. And this is the rock pose that the first partner will be doing. So first I'll get into rock pose. Okay, so rock pose will be kind of like child's pose. So child's pose is like you bend forward and place your hands at the top of the mat. But this time, since we're a rock, we're gonna place our arms by our sides and then go like put our forehead on the mat so that we're looking down and go into a rock. And then the other person, while we're doing a rock, or one person does a rock, so the other person will be lying on top of our rock. So he or she will be, while one person is in a rock, the other person will be lying on top of the rock, and this is the pose. So yeah, but for me, I have to hold on to his legs because then Teddy will fall. So if you don't have to hold on to the legs of your partner, and just breathe here, and make sure you two are comfortable and don't take it slow so that you guys don't hurt each other. But yeah, that's a lizard on a rock pose. And yeah, so, and then the next pose will be, the next exhibit we're going to in the zoo is the gorilla exhibit. So we suddenly see a large gorilla eating a banana on a tree. So let's do gorilla pose. Okay, so I'll be showing you the gorilla pose, and what it looks like on picture is this. So this is the gorilla pose, and it looks like we're swinging on swinging our arms, which we are. So this is how do we get into gorilla pose. We'll be standing straight in mountain pose, and then we bend forward from our hips and place our hands on the ground and slowly bend our knees if you want, and then grabbing our opposite elbows, and then slowly sway side to side. And this is like a gorilla, and you can make gorilla sounds or like make movements with your arms, like funny movements, and that's basically gorilla pose. So yeah, and so to get out of the pose, we slowly come up, and then yeah, so that's gorilla pose. Okay, so to get into another exhibit, we'll have to cross a river. So now we'll do river pose. So the river pose is, let me find it. Okay, so this is the river pose, and basically you're just stretching your hamstrings on the bottom and your thighs. So this is how to get into river pose. We'll be sitting on our bottom with our legs straight, and then slowly sit up straight with your back lengthened, and then you can slowly curl your arms and hands to reach your toes. And this is how we do, try to lengthen your back so that your back isn't hunching too much, but it's more lengthened, and you can slowly lower. If you can't reach your toes, you can always place them on your calves, and you can lean forward and just bend. Or you can be super flexible, and if you reach further than your toes, you can use a block or something to grab onto over your toes. You can even bend your knees so that it's adjusted to suit your body. And to get out of the pose, we just slowly lift our back and shoulders, and then our arms away from our toes. Okay, so, and then to cross the river, we need a boat. So we're gonna have a boat pose. So the boat pose is this pose. So I'll be showing boat pose. So this is boat pose. It looks like kind of like a boat as you're balancing on the base of your boat, which is the butt. And then, okay, so I'll show you how to balance as a boat. So we sit down, so sit up straight, and then slowly you can put your arms by your side. You can bend your knees, and then slowly lift one leg up, and then you can slowly lift the other leg up. And then if you want to try to give yourself a challenge, you can lift both legs up, and then lift your arms so that you're leaning back and look forward. And then you can even try to straighten your legs if you want to give yourself a challenge. And then slowly hold for a few seconds. This is a good core workout as well. And this is like a boat. You can rock your boat and then slowly come down and yeah, breathe, exhale. So that's gonna be boat pose. And for boat pose, yeah, so, and then, but to ride on the boat, we have to have two people. One is the driver, and then one is the passenger. So we're gonna have a two people boat. So this is gonna be a partner pose, and it's gonna be two boat pose. It's gonna be a double boat. So this is what it looks like in the picture. Yeah, so boat pose using two people. And since I only have Medi Teddy here, unfortunately I don't have another person to show us, but he can pretend to be a person. So this is Medi Teddy, and we're gonna start by sitting down on our butt, facing each other, both partners, and then yeah, so both partners sit next to each other, and then bend your legs. So hopefully your person will have longer legs than Medi Teddy, and then he'll just have to, yeah, so touch your feet together, and then make sure, and then once you touch your feet together and sit up straight, then you grab each other's hands. So grab for each other's hands, and then slowly lift your legs up. It's kind of hard for me to do so, but pretend I'm lifting my legs up, and so your legs should be lifted like this, and then also while holding each other's arms, so it looks like this, but yeah, so that's the partner boat pose. And yeah, hopefully you guys have fun with that. You can even make different shapes with your boat and try to see if you can make different kinds of boats. And yeah, so hopefully you can try that out on, yeah. And then next pose we'll be doing is turtle pose, because you spot in the river, you spot a turtle on the branch. And so now we'll be doing turtle pose. So turtle pose is, I'll be showing us, is this pose. So this is turtle pose. And to do this pose, we'll be sitting down on the floor. So this is the pose. We'll be sitting down on the floor and spreading our legs wide. And then slowly to get into the pose, we'll just be, so bending our knees slightly. So slightly bend your knees and then place your hands under your legs. And then if you can bring your legs together and then put your feet together touching, and then hold your hands over your feet, and then if you can slowly bend down, or even if you're flexible enough, you can put your forehead to your feet so that you're touching your feet with your forehead. And that's a turtle pose. So because turtles have a shell, they often like to retreat for safety and protection. Yeah, if you can think about in this pose what you use as protection and safety from like fears or like when you're scared. And yeah, and then come out of the pose by slowly like lifting up your chest and your head, and then taking out your hands and then putting your feet together. And that's how to get out of the pose. Okay, so, and then you gaze into the water and see so many fish swimming around in the river. So let's get into fish pose. Okay, so fish pose is this pose. So it looks like kind of like a fish in that the arms are the fins and this is the tail and then that's the head. So it's like an upside down, like when you're upside down. But so this is how to get into the pose. So first we're gonna be lying on our backs. So get into a lie down position on your back, and then slowly bring your head up and slowly arch your back and bring your head back and touch your forehead to the mat, and then bring your arms up and touch them at the top. And this is fish pose. If it's, you can always try to modify so that it suits your level. And then slowly to get out of this pose, lower your arms and then lower your back onto the mat, and just slowly be careful with your neck as it's quite, it's quite fragile. So make sure you don't make any quick movements. And that's fish pose. Okay, and then the next pose we'll be doing, so we'll now step off the boat on the river, and as soon as you do, the boat guide tells us we all have to climb a tree to get to the next exhibit. So now we have to become a tree in tree pose. So this is tree pose, and we'll be doing a different tree, or we can do a similar tree, but we can also do different trees with our branches. So to get into tree pose, we'll be standing up straight as in mountain pose, and then we'll slowly grab one ankle, or the left or the right, and then we can slowly lift it to our other leg, to the inside of our leg. It can be either above the knee, or we can do it below the ankle, or where the ankle is. And then lift our branches, so our arms are our branches. We can lift them like this, or touch them at the top. We can even lower them and put it in prayer position. And so you can do anything you want, and this is a different tree. Or you can do a sideways tree, a tilting tree, so it can be any tree. Just make sure you keep yourself balanced, and then you can try to challenge yourself by looking up at the sky, or you can close your eyes. Try closing your eyes and try to balance, but be careful. And also you can do the other side. So the other side will be taking our other foot and putting it on the side of our leg. Whoops, just try to balance. Okay, and then lift our arms as a branch, and then close our eyes if you want to challenge yourself. and then opening your eyes, and then taking your foot down and release the pose. So that's tree pose. And okay, and then once we get on the tree, you see an eagle at the top, and the eagle is resting, perched in its nest. Now let's get into eagle pose. Okay, so eagle pose looks like, this is eagle pose, and so it looks like kind of like a standing on one foot and while crossing our arms and legs. So this is how we get into eagle pose. So we'll be standing straight first, and then we're gonna bend one leg and cross it over the other leg, and then we can even twist our ankle around if you can, or not. You can just bend the knee over, and then putting your one arm under the other. You can put your left arm under the right arm, and then lifting up your arms so that they're shoulder length, and then reach your hands up and touch your palms, so your palms are touching at the top, and then gaze forward. You can gaze at any spot in front of you, just make sure you keep it in focus, and then slowly lower, take out your legs, and lower your arms. And that's eagle pose, and then we should do the other side. So the other side will be taking our other leg and placing it across the other leg, and try to balance. Okay, and then you can place the other arm under the other arm, and lifting it up so that you can gaze forward or down at something and focus, so that something that's not moving, so that you can keep your balance. And then slowly breathe, and don't forget to breathe, and then slowly lower your arms, and then untangle your legs. And that's eagle pose. So for eagle pose, and then okay, and then up on the tree you can see far and wide, and in the sky there are crows flying, circling around the tree you're sitting in. So now let's try crow pose. Okay, so crow pose, it looks like, okay, let me get to that. So this is crow pose. So this is crow pose. So it looks like you're up in the air and you're kind of flying. So you're gonna try a balancing pose, and if it's too difficult, you can always just opt out. But yeah, you can try to challenge yourself if you like. And so this is the crow pose I'll be showing to us. So first we're gonna start in the squatting position. We'll be putting our feet on the ground and then squatting down low, and then place your arms in front of you so your hands are on the mat, palms are facing down, and then slowly tilt forward. Make sure your arms or your knees are up high on your arms, as your knees are going to balance on your arms. And then slowly you can bend forward. Try to make sure, so you're going to be balancing on your arms on this way, so try to shift forward. Make sure your gaze is straight, and then slowly, if you can lift one leg, you can lift the other leg, and then to get into crow pose will be challenging. So we'll just lift both legs and try to balance here, and we'll be flying for a bit. So this is crow pose, and so slowly try to see how long you can balance for if you can, and if not, don't worry. You can always try practicing more. But it took a long time for me to get there, so always be patient with yourself. And then, okay, so next, so the next pose we'll be doing is we'll be climbing down from the tree, and then two dogs start barking at you. Now let's try another partner pose. This partner pose is two dog partner pose. So it's called double dog. So this double dog pose is, let me just find it, hold on. Okay, so this is double dog pose, and I'll be using two people. So one person will be doing the downward dog. Well, both people are doing downward dog, but one is on the floor and the other one is balancing on the person's lower back. So this is how we'll be doing it. I'll see if I can use Medi Teddy as an example. So, oh no, okay. Okay, so Manny Teddy will be the person on top of me since he's lighter. So make sure that the heavier person or the person that weighs more is on the bottom as the bottom dog, as this will help you, as this will be like more, yeah, it'll be more careful as like you don't want to fall. So, okay, so I'll be on the bottom. So I'll be doing a downward dog pose. So downward dog will be placing our knees and hands on the mat and then into like a cat pose. And then place your toes on the mat, like curling your toes on the mat. And then lift your knees so that your knees are up. And then lower your back and your chest so that you're in a triangle position. You're like, you look like a triangle or pyramid. And then, so this is downward dog. And then for the second pose, the second partner, he or she will be placing we'll be placing their hands on the mat in front of the other person's pose. And then, so he'll be doing downward dog. And then, so he'll be on the head. Make sure the legs aren't on the neck. So this, just because Manny Teddy is not a person, so it's hard for me to show you guys. But anyways, pretend Manny Teddy's legs are on my lower back. So he'll be doing an upward dog, and then I'll be doing an upward dog, downward dog, and then, so this is downward dog, partner pose. Yeah, so hopefully you guys can try it out. Make sure you stay safe and, yeah, follow the pose. Okay, yeah, so the next pose we'll be doing, suddenly once you finally get down from the tree, you decide to ride a horse the rest of the way to the other zoo exhibits. So horse pose we'll be doing is, okay, so this is horse pose. I don't have the picture of it, but I can show it to you guys. So Manny Teddy can also show it to you guys so that you guys can see an example. So so this is horse pose. So bend your knees first, like bend your knees like this, and then place one leg in front of the other. So we'll be like this. So bend one knee, and then lift, shift the other leg behind so that it's not a 90-degree like this, but you're shifting your weight forward. And make sure the ankle is below the knee, so you're not extending the knee. And then raise your arms up, so your arms should be up, and then placing them, yeah. So your arms are up, and this is horse pose. So you look kind of like a horse, and you look gaze straight and forward. And then to get out of the pose, slowly lower your arms and lower your leg into seated position on your knees. And then to do the other side, we'll want to switch legs. So switch your opposite leg to the front, kneel on bending your knee, and then shift your weight forward so that your knee is 90 degrees, and then lift your arms and touch them at the top, and gaze forward, breathe here. Yeah, so this is horse pose. Yeah, and okay, so horse pose is, yeah, it's pretty fun to do. Okay, so then suddenly the horse jumps and you get frightened. So the horse seems to have caught a glance of a baby cobra slithering on the ground. Oh no! Okay, so now we'll be doing baby cobra pose. So baby cobra pose is, hold on. Okay. Baby cobra, cobra. So this is cobra pose, and we'll just pretend it's a baby cobra because they're both basically the same family. So cobra pose will be, first, we'll be lying on our stomach. So to get into baby cobra, we'll be lying on our stomach, and then shoulders, we're lifting ourselves on our shoulders, and then place your hands below your shoulders so that your chest is up slightly and your head is up. And then to get into cobra, we'll slowly lift ourselves up, our chest up and our back up using our hands, and arms to lengthen ourselves, and arching your back so that your back is curved, and then gazing forward. And this is Cobra pose. So yeah, and you can stay in this pose for a few breaths, and then slowly lower down, back down on your stomach, and then gaze to one side. Yeah, and so that would be Cobra pose. The next pose we'll be doing is, so basically as snakes grow, they shed their skin. What have you outgrown? What are you now ready to let go of? So that's what we're gonna think about for while we're doing this pose. And then once we get out of the pose, the next exhibit we pass is a camel exhibit. So let's do camel pose. Okay, so camel pose is, it looks like this. So it looks like we're arching our back, and this is our hump of the camel. It looks like just one hump, but yeah. So for camel pose, we'll be standing on our knees. So make sure to stand on your knees and lengthen your back, and make sure your shoulders are down, and then slowly lower or reach your hands to your foot, to your feet, your ankles, and place the other foot or hand on the other ankle, and then arch back. Make sure you gaze straight. Don't try to bend, look behind you, as this could hurt your neck. And gaze straight and make sure your neck is relaxed. And then, yeah, so this is the camel pose. And then to get out of the camel pose, you just slowly raise yourself up and sit down on your knees. So that's camel pose. And then, okay, so next, we begin walking to the next exhibit when suddenly you hear a crunch sound on the ground. You look down and see that you accidentally stepped on a snail. Oh no, poor snail. We'll now do snail pose. Okay, so snail pose, this is snail pose. So it looks like we're upside down, or our legs are over our head. And so this is how we're gonna do it. So if you can follow me, and we'll be doing the pose. So first lie on your back, and then shift your legs, bend your legs, and then slowly lift your legs up straight so that they're straight, and then raise your hips up and be a straight line. So it's like a shoulder stand, and then lower your legs slightly and slowly reach them over your head, and if you can, try to touch the floor with your feet. And this is snail pose. If you can also straighten your legs, or if not, you can bend them, and gaze in front where you're between your legs, and then slowly to get out of the pose, lift, make sure they're straight, and then lift your legs up to do a shoulder stand, and then lower your back, and slightly lower your legs as well. And that's shoulder stand, that's snail pose. And yeah, so it can make you feel a bit dizzy as well. Yeah, so that's, okay. And then the next pose we'll be doing, you continue on your journey when out of nowhere, it looks like it starts to snow just on you. You look up and realize it wasn't snowing, but that you just got bird poo on you from the sky, from a pigeon flying above you. Have any of you ever had that happen to you? Well, I have, and it was not nice of the bird. So now we're gonna do pigeon pose. This is pigeon pose. Okay, so now we'll be doing pigeon pose, and this is the pigeon pose. So this is how we get into the pose. Let me just drink some water. Okay, so pigeon pose, we'll be placing one leg straight behind you, and then the opposite leg will be bent at a 90-degree angle in front of you. So make sure your knee is bent. So it looks like from the front, it looks like we'll be we'll be bending our knee at a 90-degree angle, and my leg is back straight. Pretend there's no couch here, so my leg would be behind me straight. And then so at the side, it looks like this is the side view, and we'll be bending our leg behind us. And if you can stay straight like a standing pigeon, or you can bend your elbows into sleeping position. So this is sleeping pigeon. You can even put your forehead on the mat. And breathe here for a few moments. It's quite a restful pose. And then to get out of the pose, just slowly lift yourself up into standing pigeon, and then bring your opposite leg forward so that and then sit down cross-legged for a few breaths. Okay, and then we have to do the opposite side. So bend your other leg 90 degrees and shift your opposite leg behind you into a straight line, and then slowly sit up straight so that you're on your hips, and make sure, you can sit up straight. Or you can also put your elbows down and then lower your forehead on the mat. So this is sleeping pigeon again on the opposite side. And then to get out of the pose, you can slowly lift yourself up and put your opposite leg in front of you and cross your legs. So that was pigeon pose. And if you can't do sleeping pose, you can always just do sitting pigeon. So the next pose we'll be doing, you decide you want to go back home after you head back to the car, after you got pooed on by the bird. So now you want to head back to the car and go home. So on your way back, you feel something on your shoulder. You look to your right shoulder and see a butterfly fluttering next to you. So now we will do butterfly pose. Okay, so butterfly pose, this is butterfly pose. It's sitting down, and I'll be guiding us through it. So just sit down on your butt, and then place both of your feet together, and place your hands on your feet, and then flutter your legs like they're wings. So this is butterfly pose, and it's one of my favorites because it's so simple and it's so good for your hamstrings and your flexibility. You can try to place them lower and push them down, but also you can also just keep fluttering them like wings. And that's butterfly pose. And then we can get out of the pose just by simply, closing our legs. Okay, and then the next pose, now you reach the car. Once you get in the car, you decide to take up the whole back seat by doing starfish pose. So let's try to do starfish pose. Okay, I'll be guiding us through a simple meditation while we'll be doing starfish pose. So you can follow along with me, and you can listen closely. So this is starfish pose. So lie down on your back and gaze forward. Make sure your arms and legs are relaxed. Back straight, and pretend you're a heavy weight on the floor. So feel yourself heavy on the floor and relax completely. You can close your eyes and just take deep breaths. So today we went to the zoo, and this is the meditation we'll be doing. Settle down and relax. Close your eyes and go inside. Breathe in love and breathe out worry. Imagine you are outside. The sun is shining, hands are singing. You hear a rustling in the bushes and then a giggle. It's an animal watching you, and it wants to be your friend. What kind of animal is it? Let it come close so that you can sit together and be close. This animal is wise and here to support you. If you have a question, a secret, or a problem, you can share it with him. He will help you. Your animal friend loves you very much. And that's the animal friend meditation. And then slowly raise yourself up by shifting yourself to your side, and then coming up slowly and sitting back up. So now, once we do that, we will, after a long day out of the zoo, you decide to think about how lucky you are. We will do a gratitude meditation now. So start in crisscross seated position. So just crisscross your legs and into, just crisscross position. And then close your eyes or keep your gaze soft and inward facing. So don't dart your eyes around too much. Sit up straight, nice and tall. As the spine lengthens, relax the neck and shoulders. Take one deep inhale through the nose and open the mouth to exhale with an ah sound. So inhale. Ah. Imagine you can breathe directly into your belly and relax all the muscles there. Set a timer for a few minutes with a sound that is soothing and calming for you. Connect to your inhale and exhale. As you breathe, connect with the small and large gifts in your life, the people, places, and things that help strengthen you. Breathe in and out and feel grateful for the everyday gift of surrounding nature. Breathe in and out and feel grateful for family and friends. Breathe in and out and express gratitude. Express gratitude for your health. Breathe in and out and feel gratitude toward yourself for all your efforts every day and for all the unique assets you bring to the world. Take a few more silent moments, allowing any other spontaneous ideas about gratitude to arise and fill your heart with appreciation. Open your eyes gently and notice how you feel. Do you feel lighter? Happier? It made me feel a lot better, as I tend to always focus on everything that's going wrong in my life. So that was the end of our meditation and our yoga session. I hope you guys enjoyed the class for today, and I hope to see you guys all next week. And I hope you guys enjoy yourself, stay safe and healthy from the virus. And I'll see you guys again next week. Thank you. Bye.